And still on election matters, Nigeria's Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has declared Governor Hope Uzodinma of the All Progressives Congress, APC, winner of the November 11, 2023 governorship election in Imo State, southeast of Nigeria. The Vice-Chancellor of the Federal University, Oyekiti, Professor Abayomi Fashino, who was the state returning officer, declared Uzodinma re-elected after over 8 hours of collation of local government results. Uzodinma was the first declared as Imo State Governor by the Supreme Court in January 2020 after the nullification of the election of Emeka Ihedioha of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, a situation that made him attract more political enemies in the state.
Party APC, represented by Uzodinma Odidika Good Hope, scored 540,308. 540308. Party LP, represented by John Negi, scored 64,081. 64081. Party PDP, represented by Ayamu Samuel Nemeka, scored 71503 votes. 71503 votes. That is Uzodinma Odidika Good Hope of APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
Nigeria's Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpobi, has congratulated Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo on his victory at the November 11 gubernatorial election in the state. Uzodinma of the All Progressives Congress polled 540,308 votes to defeat 17 other candidates in the state. In his congratulatory message issued on Sunday in Abuja, Akpobi commended Uzodinma for his resilience and commitment to genuine democratic practices, saying that good governance had triumphed over propaganda. The Senate President said Uzodinma should regard his re-election as a renewed mandate to build on the foundations he already laid towards improving the lives of the people of Imo State. Meanwhile, there was pandemonium during the announcement of the election results when the Labour Party agent alleged that results were announced for a local government that election did not hold.
We can take everything. There was no election. There was no election. No election in Osun. Nowhere in Osun was the election done. We will not sit here and allow you to collect.
Hey, come back now. Your phone.
For the police.
Take him out.
And joining me on the news to talk about this issue is Ambassador Elvis Akpobi, who is Executive Director, Not Too Young to Lead Initiative. Good morning. Glad to have you join me.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
Let me just start with a clip we just saw right there regarding the rancor on the floor of the State Collation Center. What are your thoughts or reaction to that?
I know you're a screen person, and we don't tell ourselves the truth as Nigerians. We're not practicing a democratic process. We're not practicing a process where people air their view, where people discuss what they are not comfortable with. We see elections as transactions, and it's not too good. I've been privileged to be an EU election observer in the just concluded Liberia election, and I see a trust from the electorate with the electoral umpire. But back in Nigeria, it's not same, and I'm disappointed. People should be able to air their views as electorate, as candidates. Despite there should be discipline.
Right.
I'm disappointed when I see clips like that because it reflects negatively about what the giant of Africa looks like and how the giant of Africa should look like.
Okay, Ambassador Akpobi, let me move quickly to another salient issue. I mean, this election has been fraught by vote buying. Let me find out from you, why do you think, vote buying seems to be, rampant and has sort of become a norm in Nigeria's electoral process? Who do you think are the enablers and what can be done to address it?
Poverty. When you're poor, you become vulnerable. For a country that is struggling to approve 30,000 minimum wage, and we see for a state, I was meant to understand, for a place like Bayelsa State, votes were being sold allegedly being sold for 30,000, and people that have not been privileged to see 30,000 in the last 1 or 2 months, they will subscribe to it. When you're poor, you become vulnerable. And I think poverty has been used by a weapon by the political players to, make us not know our left to our right. People have become gullible. So you can't extinguish good vote buying when there's poverty in the land. So, and then not to forget that the National Orientation Agency is underfunded, and it seems like they're not doing their job. Because what you don't know is above you as an electorate, when there is no good advocacy, when there is no good message about vote buying, you subscribe to it.
Okay,
a lot
Elvis.
of people have contracted governance to the wrong people just because they are poor.
Elvis, if I may just quickly chip in there, what then do you think could be the impact of vote buying on our democracy and governance and government as a country?
You see the wrong people being elected as leaders. And that's why you see that we always have the wrong people make the wrong policies. And it seems like we're not growing. We're stagnant. You see young people escaping Nigeria to become, there's a modern slavery in the Western world. I'm currently in Ontario, Canada, and I've been privileged to engage young Nigerians that are here and the young Canadians. And I see that there's a modern slavery going on already. People be like, you need to escape Nigeria to survive. And it's not good for our country. We might be joking about it, but for me, it's not good for our country. When you see graduates resign their job back in Nigeria, they come back to become security men. They become slaves to people who don't even have a greener pack shop compared to ours back in Nigeria. For me, it's not inspiring at all.
Ambassador Akpobi, let's talk about something else. Akpobi, let's talk about something else regarding, still on the same matter of vote buying or vote selling, whichever way you tend to look at it. In terms of the electorate, in terms of INEC officials themselves, I saw over the news a particular corps member, allegedly, by the way, and they saw some of the millionaire in his bag. What decisive steps can we take, to help curb this menace of either being, selling your vote or aiding the sales of votes? These enticements we see at polling centers, how can we curb it or nip it in the bud?
Provide a ladder of social mobility for people. The inequality in Nigeria the gap of inequality is too far, and people see every election as a transaction, which is not too good. They don't think about the ripple effects of it. They think about, okay, this is the only chance for me to make money, and I need to make money despite the wrong person is being elected, and it makes us stagnant. If young people who are really mostly the vehicles of violence and victims of violence, if you have an enabling environment and equal opportunity where you know that this person, I'm an environmentalist, I apply for a job of an environmentalist, I don't need to have the right surname, I don't need to live in the right address to get that job, we'll get a better society. There's so much bleakness in our land, and you agree with me that when you are poor, I always reiterate that when you are poor, you become vulnerable. A lot of people have become what they said they would not become just because of the way our climate is back in Nigeria. And for me, it's not too good. So for me, the government, stakeholders should subscribe towards providing a ladder of social mobility for young people where equal opportunities are being created.
Ambassador Elvis, let's talk about the role of the National Orientation Agency. I have not seen much of the activities, in the build-up of these off-cycle election. How about the National Orientation Agency, civil society groups, educating the masses on electoral cycles, in the country? when we compare to what we have in Nigeria in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and 90s, I don't see much of what they are doing right now. Could that have also, played a role in what characterizes Nigeria's election at the moment?
Yes, it has, because I've had one or two engagements with their staffs and key stakeholders. They are underfunded. Let's be realistic and objective. INEC today have, I think, their staffs they were even understaffed. You find out during electioneering, they recruit millions of people, corpers and all that. And these corpers, they know how our problems are foundational problems. These corpers, they know how this is just an opportunity to make money. Despite it's a short-term job, that's why you see vulnerability comes in. The corper is saying that I've seen persons that served and they had first class and they're jobless. This is just an opportunity for me to, make money and escape Nigeria. That is where you see vulnerability. That is where you see loopholes in our electoral processes. So for me, the National Orientation Agency, I know and I'm very confident that they are underfunded. I don't know of understaffed, but being understaffed, INEC too is understaffed. But let's not forget that we need to start recruiting people with integrity, character for INEC, because they are umpires of our elections. Their actions and inactions determine what our country looks like, because they're always the one that put forward those who will make policies for our country. And those who make policies for our country determines how our country looks like.
And that's a fine place to wrap up. Thank you so much for your insight on the news. Ambassador Elvis Akpobi, Executive Director, Not Too Young to Leave Initiative. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.